So I'm curious to know, what are Ayumi's top 5 favorite hikes ever and why? And
Uh,
it doesn't have to be in any particular order. So just whatever comes to your mind.
okay. All right. Um, I guess I want to start off with my absolute favorite one, because I can never stop talking about it. Actually, my top two are in Hawaii, the state of
Yes.
Hawaii. I
Best
love
place
that
ever.
island so much. Like, I don't know why I'm not there yet. I don't know why I'm not living there. But yes, the first hike, my favorite hike that I ever did, ever, was a hike that people it's a super a touristy attraction hike.
Mhm.
And people that have gone to the island, it is or people who are going, whatever, it is Manoa Falls. Manoa Falls doesn't sound like it would be someone's favorite hike, but what people don't realize is that just because you see one giant waterfall, that means there's got to be others behind it, you know? And a funny story, I flew to Hawaii. This was my second time going, and I went in January, right before the pandemic hit. And when I flew to Hawaii, I did not ask my friends to take off any time from work because I was like, you know what? I'm going to find my own adventures. I don't want to inconvenience anyone's life. So I jumped on Bumble and just try to connect with people to hang out with on the island and everything. And the second day that I was there was, I call it interview day, where I was just talking to like a bunch of people, just trying to like see who's down for adventures and who's looking for something else, because all I wanted to do was just hike and adventure around. Like, I wasn't looking for a hookup or anything like that. I guess I could have.
No hike hubby?
No
No hike
hike hubby.
hubby? Okay.
That's funny. And this one dude replied back and he's like, yo, I have these four hikes back to back to back. If you're down for them, let's go. And I was like, four hikes? I was like, yes, you are my dude. So one of the adventures that we went on, he told me, I don't know how many waterfalls there are after Manoa Falls. Like, I have no idea. And I was like, neither do I. Let's go find out. So, yeah, hiking to Manoa Falls, you see the big, huge waterfall. And then if you
Mhm.
go a little bit to, I guess you hike up a little bit more, there's another path where you can go to another waterfall. And then after that, it's just I don't know, scrambling. You have to climb up like rocks and trees
Yes.
and use the root system. It's just vertical going up. And after that, there's no trails. So it's just basically following the waterfall all the way up. And when we got to the end of it, there was 15,
Wow.
15 waterfalls. And each
Wow.
one was absolutely beautiful. And it's not like you can just climb up. Like, some of them you can hike up and climb the waterfalls we had to. Others, we had to bushwhack and go all the way around. So once we got to the top of the 15 waterfalls, we're like, shit, we're not going to go back down the same way. That's just too impossible. So you just have to uh, bushwhack. Bushwhack. We bushwhacked to the side of the mountain all the way up to we found a ridge to the ridge, and then we found a trail. And it was just ridiculous. I think it was like 7 miles or something total, but at the end of it, we finally made our way back to the trailhead of Manoa Falls. And the funniest thing about that entire experience is throughout the entire hike, I fell a bunch of times, I'm scraped, I have bruises, cuts, and mud caked all over me. And people that are just going to the first waterfall are looking at me like, "What the fuck? Is this the hike that we're about to go on? What happened to this girl?"
They're like, "Oh my god, she came out of a war zone. What's going on? We have
Yeah.
to go back now."
I know, and people were probably looking at me like, "I maybe we shouldn't do this hike. Like, if that's the way that girl looks, I don't know if I wanna do this."
Oh, that's so great. And I have the perfect visual in my head because I have done Manoa Falls, but not the adventurous route that you did. And now I'm
Yeah.
very curious. But yeah, because it's such a touristy spot, but it's such a gorgeous place. It feels like Jurassic Park there is like what a lot of descriptions say.
Yes,
And just to
yeah.
imagine people seeing you under this beautiful waterfall coming out of the blue, and you just look like a hot mess, a hot hike mess. But yeah.
Sticks in my hair, leaves all over the place. I'm just yeah, it was hilarious. Definitely a funny scene.
And I mean, wow, if I found a place that had 15 waterfalls, that would definitely be an absolute favorite of mine as well. So what's the
Yeah.
other hike that in Hawaii that was a favorite of yours too?
The second it's called Cow Crater. Also one that's not super touristy. Um, but that one you feel like as soon as you start the trailhead, you're like, "Holy crap. I am on the movie set of Jurassic Park." It is just lush, so beautiful. Like everything you'd imagine, like super muddy, wet, green everywhere, and just flowers, like bright color flowers, and super gorgeous. And on that hike, there is actually three waterfalls that you encounter. And the third one, you have to hike up. So you kind of have to scramble a bit up until you get to the saddle of the crater.
Hmm.
From the saddle up, that's when it's just a fucking mess because it's clay, it's mud, and there's rope that you have to use to climb up on certain parts because it's very slippery.
Oh wow.
Uh, and the reason why these are my top two is because it's because the climbing part, I really like climbing. It makes me feel like a kid. So